What we're going to show you today is how to fix a dripping hose faucet without going under the house, without fixing any pipes or doing anything with pipes. You can do it all from the outside by replacing the little piece of rubber in there that is what keeps it from turning on and off. And the difficult part of this job is getting the faucet, the spigot, disassembled. It's very difficult. Sometimes it's stuck together. So the first thing we're going to need to do, obviously, is turn the water off. So we'll go over here and show you how to turn the water off to your house, because when you take this thing apart, water will just shoot everywhere unless the main water cutoff to the house is cut off. So your water meter is over here. You want to make sure every once in a while that you open this thing, and because the city will be upset with you and tell you that you let it get overgrown or something. And as you can see, mine was just a little bit overgrown. You couldn't just open it by hand, so I had to get my pliers and dig it out. And it'd been really raining the last few days, so I couldn't even turn the water off because the thing was full of water. So first, before I turn the water to the house off, I have to get all this rainwater out of here. And there's a very simple solution for that. So once we do that, the water cutoff valve is this thing I'm going to show you. That's it. You turn it clockwise like you're closing a Coke bottle until it stops. Some of them you want to make the little wall on the top of it in line with the pipe to be on, and then 90 degrees to the pipe to be off. Now this is the little tool I made to reach down in there. It's a piece of tubing squished flat with a hole for the screwdriver to go in. Your water meter will tell you if you have a leak anywhere in the house. There's a tiny wheel on the water meter that measures tiny amounts of water, and if it goes 10 minutes without moving, then as far as the city's concerned, you don't have a leak. So if you have something that's dripping like this, you actually have a leak. Now that's the bonnet, and that's the stem. You want to take off the one in the back. The one in the front doesn't really do anything except keep water from spraying you when you turn it on. The one in the back is how you take apart the whole thing. The handle can come off, but it's not necessarily important. As you can see, this one's square shaped. Now here's one that's not square shaped. It's a hexagonal shape one. You can see I replaced it. And if it's hexagonal shaped, then you want to put a socket on there. It's as tight a possible fit, which would mean you'd have to take the handle off and take the bonnet off. But a square shaped one like this, I just have to put an open end wrench on there. Now you can't just put a wrench on it and spin. You actually have to hold the spigot and keep the spigot itself from spinning the other way, because you'll twist the pipe, especially if you have copper or plastic pipe. It's not going to be good, okay? So you're going to have to hold one way and then loosen the other way. You're taking this off counterclockwise rotation, just like you're unscrewing a Coke bottle, okay? And I hold one way on one wrench, make sure everything's a good tight fit. Better be a tight fit, okay? And then you're watching me actually take off one that's probably from the 1980s. I think this house has been done a while ago, so it might be earlier because it has crank style windows that aren't insulated, so it's pretty old. I moved to a different position. I couldn't put a socket on it because it's square shaped, but there it goes. Came off, and we got the stem loose. That's the hardest part of the job, is getting it off, but hold everything good and tight, it'll come off. Okay, so there's the rubber or whatever it is. And once it gets hard, it won't really work anymore. So you want to take that screw out with a flathead screwdriver, not with a Phillips head, because the Phillips head will want to strip. That's a brass screw in there. It's brass so that it won't rust, because it lives its life in the water. Now, this rubber gasket can get, you don't want to lose that screw either. This rubber gasket can get hard, and it has to be smushy and squeeze out and fill in little voids to stop the water from dripping. And if it's not smushy, then little bits of water can get through. So you want a new squishy one, and the really old one from 1981 is not going to work anymore. And it gets packed in there so hard, this is normal, you got to dig it out with something, and so I'm going to get my knife and dig it out. It doesn't have to be cut or torn to stop working, it just has to get hard over time. Okay, so we popped it out, and you can see the little tray. I'll show you the little tray where it goes, where it sits in there. And you can buy a pack of replacement ones, of a variety of replacement ones, for $5 is what I got mine for. I think it was like $7 at Lowe's. So there's the pack. And you can actually buy like for $1 a pack of all the same size, and cover most faucets. This covers all sorts of sink faucets and all kind of different things. But there was one in there, and you know, it's like just a few dollars for that pack. So this is for pennies. You want the fit to be a little bit loose. You don't want it to have to shove it down in there. You want it to go in there easily and have that, so you can see right there, that's how much play you want. So you got to pick one that's the right size. You can just take this stem, which is the part that I took out of the faucet. It's called the stem. You can just take that to the store and then get a proper fit and come back. But it's kind of handy just to have a bunch of these on hand. My customers sometimes say, oh, my hose is leaking, and it's an easy fix for me, so I like doing that for people. We tighten it down, and then we're going to put it back in there pretty much the same way it came off. I'm not going to tighten it with any kind of He-Man strength, but you know, the old 5-finger torque method, when it feels good and tight to you, but don't wring it to death. And that's it. You have fixed it. All you got to do at this point is try it out and see if it works. Alright, so we're going to turn the water back on, and you can feel a difference when you tighten it down. If it feels squishy, then you know that it's probably going to work. If it feels like there's some compression and some sort of elastic resistance as you tighten it down. And so we've turned the water on, and as you can see, it's not dripping. Now we're going to open up the faucet, the hose pipe, the spigot, and water comes out because the water's on. Water's going everywhere. And as you can see, one drop, and that is it. It won't drip because it's been fixed. You didn't have to go into the house. You didn't have to solder copper pipe or cut pipe or anything like that. You can do this from the outside for pennies. For pennies. Easy fix. You can see on the back of the faucet the haunches right there where I put the wrench. That's how you do it. So here we have a very, very different spigot that I wanted to show you. First of all, you can see the stem and the different alignment of the stem in the whole thing. It's not straight, it's bent at an angle. And then you can see that it's actually a hexagonal head stem instead of square head, and it's very large diameter, and it's very thin. So I would not recommend putting an open-end wrench, a crescent wrench, or adjustable wrench. I would recommend putting a socket on this stem to take it off, now, which means you got to take the handle off. Now sometimes you have spigots that don't have those flat spots on the back. Do you see those flat spots back there? Those are the haunches. And those haunches back there are where the wrench would grip. But I'm going to show you how to do this with what's called a pipe wrench. And the pipe wrench is actually able to grip round things. But you do want to be careful of this. So here's a pipe wrench that's able to grip something round with no flat spots. You got to be careful of damaging those threads. You want to push the pipe wrench off of those threads on back towards the wall. But it's not a bad idea to screw an old water hose onto the threads to keep from damaging the threads. And there's the giant socket that I'm going to use to take it off. I took the handle off, and I'm going to put that giant socket on there, and then here we are. I actually put a t-shirt around it just to show you could put more protection around the threads on the hose spigot if you wish. And we're going to take this one off. This one's actually has never been removed since the 70s, and it came off fairly easily once you have the setup. You absolutely want to have the wrench on there, not just whatever you're taking the stem off with, but the other wrench to hold against, because you'll actually twist the pipe in the wall and damage it if it's copper pipe or plastic pipe or something like that. And you won't get this thing off by just putting one wrench on it and torquing. It's a very good idea to hold the other way with the other wrench. And so that's why I showed you this with the pipe wrench, so that you could see even if you don't have the haunches, there's still a way to hold it and keep from bending all the pipe in the wall, which can be a big no-no. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for your